welcome. I'm Amy Zielinski of Divine Union, here with Ageless Conception. Today I want to talk to you about transforming your thoughts, which is such an essential part of every kind of conception. You're probably here because you are trying or thinking about conceiving a child. But everything I say here, indeed everything I say throughout this website, I want to invite you to think of as not just important for conceiving a child. I want you to think about here your thoughts and the way they relate to all forms of conception. For us to be able to conceive anything, a child or an idea or a plan, we need to be really open. And one of the things that hinders our ability to open is this massive amount of thoughts we have in our head. Some of them are really conscious, and you might be aware of some of the thoughts you already have about conception. Some of them are unconscious, subconscious, and they play underneath the surface. All of them are important. The thing that I know to be true about our thoughts is that they are magic. And by that I mean that they have power. The words we speak aloud and the words we speak to ourselves have tremendous power. Let's do a little exercise to show ourselves how much power our words have. Okay? So close your eyes for a moment. Take a few breaths into your deep, deep belly. Allow your spine to be comfortably straight. Just get kind of neutral in your body. Wonderful. And first I want you to listen to the thought I will say aloud, and I want you to repeat it in your own head or repeat it aloud after me. Okay, and then after you say the thought, I want you to watch what happens to your body, and I'll walk you through that. Okay, so the first thought is, I am open and receptive and ready to conceive. Say that aloud or in your head several times. I am open, receptive, and ready to receive, ready to conceive. I am open, receptive, and ready to conceive. Great, and holding that in your mind, just scan briefly your body from head to toe and notice, how does your body feel? Where are there places of opening in your physical form? And also notice where there are places of agitation, tightness. Maybe there's pain in your body, discomfort. Just notice how your body responds to the thought, I am open, receptive, and ready to conceive. Beautiful. Just take note of that for later, okay? And then erase that thought. So taking a few more deep breaths. And with your exhale, sigh out that thought. Imagine that you can just breathe it out of your body with your breath. Beautiful. Coming back into neutral, so breathing into low belly. I'm going to say another thought, and again I want you to repeat it aloud or in your head several times, and then we'll scan our bodies in the same way. Thought number 2. Conceiving a child is very difficult. The thought again is, conceiving a child is very difficult. Now scan your body again from head to toe. Notice what your body does in response to that thought. Conceiving a child is very difficult. Just taking note, no judgment and no need to change anything. Just take note of where there are places of sensation in your body. Beautiful. Keeping that information, bookmarking it to come back to later. Let's breathe out that thought as well. So with every exhalation, making a noise perhaps to allow that thought to go out with your air, with your breath. Wonderful. Breathing back into your low belly and centering yourself. That means coming back to your physical form, bringing all your awareness to this beautiful temple of yours. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. So you probably noticed differences in your body in response to these two thoughts. It might be really clear, the distinction. Maybe you opened entirely when you had the thought that I'm open and receptive and ready to conceive. Maybe you felt your body open. Maybe you breathed more deeply. And perhaps when you held the thought, it's difficult to conceive a child, you felt your body contracting. It's kind of general differences. What we're going for in conception of every kind, of course, is opening. Opening, opening, opening. So what's really important to notice, though, is there are subtleties even within those two thoughts, because we have all kinds of hidden thoughts. And we'll talk about exploring some of these when we talk on the video about our shadows. For right now, what's important is to start really tracking your thoughts, specifically those that are surrounding conception, pregnancy, fertility, and motherhood. All of those are related. So what's really helpful is to start almost acting as though you have a recorder, so that you can notice what were my thoughts and what was my body's reaction to them. Some of these thoughts we have often, some of them we have rarely. One layer of thought that's incredibly important to pay attention to is the thoughts that have been gifted to us by others. So these are some thoughts. They could come from your family. Maybe your family has thoughts about fertility. Maybe a great aunt had difficulty conceiving and there have been all kinds of stories about her, and so you've heard thoughts repeated about the difficulty of conceiving. Or maybe in your family there's been lots of success with fertility, of having babies, that kind of fertility, and that thought is running through your head. So there's family thoughts surrounding conception, fertility, pregnancy, and motherhood that will be playing on us. There are also cultural thoughts that function in our awareness. You might have been gifted with thoughts from your physician or from friends, even the media. You could perhaps go to the grocery store and see a tabloid that talks about someone conceiving when she's in her 60s, and that might open you. That's a thought. That's an idea. That's a bit of information, and that might open you, right? And then you might go and have coffee with a girlfriend who says, "Oh, it's really difficult to have a baby after such and such time." Those are thoughts, and they come into our awareness. We're not as unconnected, disconnected from one another's minds as we might think. This isn't to scare you. I don't say this to scare you. I say this to bring your awareness to the magic of thoughts. And when we're trying to conceive either a child or anything else, what we want to do is really be conscious of how we're using this magic. How we are working in relationship to these thoughts that are floating all around and floating in our heads. Now, the first thing to do is to not have a thought of judgment about these thoughts. So if you have an experience where a thought enters your head about, oh, being a mom is really hard, and you find yourself closing to that, what might happen is your next thought is, oh, I shouldn't even think that. That's a horrible thought. That's even more closure on top of closure. So what I'm asking you, inviting you to do now is just be open and aware of your thoughts without judgment. This takes a little practice, but be really gentle with yourself, which is really great. Great preparation for motherhood. Of course, is being gentle with ourselves. And be curious. How are these thoughts entering into my field, into my awareness, into my own mind? And how do I respond to them? Because here's a little bit of magic that thoughts have. Even if I disagree with a thought, the amount of energy that I use to disagree is magic too. Because if I have a thought, or if someone says to me, say the example of my girlfriend at coffee says, it's really hard to be a mom. And I come back with, no, it's not. That's a whole lot of energy, right? That means I have some kind of investment in that thought, even if it's to disagree with it. So that's the way to really start to get in touch with how much power a thought has over you. Is if you disagree or agree vehemently, and if there's some agitation or energy that you give away in response to this thought. Okay, so let's practice that. Let's just watch our bodies and our energy. You'll be able to tell. The mind might have all sorts of thoughts about these thoughts. So the best thing to do is just practice. Practice paying attention to our thoughts. So we'll have a couple of these thoughts that society gives us about conception, pregnancy, and motherhood. So closing your eyes. I'll say a thought, and again, you're going to pay attention to your body, but also pay attention to how much energy do you have in response to this thought. Whether you agree strongly or disagree strongly, how much energy do you have? How much force is there behind your response? Okay? So you might feel depleted immediately from the thought, as though you're a balloon that's been popped. That means you've lost energy. Or you might feel like you want to push against the thought. That's also using a lot of energy. Either way, just pay attention. All right? Again, just listen to my thought and respond. See how your body reacts. See how your energy reacts. The first thought is, in medicine today, there are so many possibilities that help women get pregnant. It's quite easy to conceive a child today. Good, just noticing If you lost energy, if you gave energy away to that thought, kind of releasing that one. Another thought is older mothers have such difficulty with energy levels during pregnancy. Just noticing, how does your body respond? How does your energy respond? Good. Thought number 3. After the age of 35, it's difficult to conceive, and there are more problems with pregnancy, more difficulties with pregnancy. Just tracking what your body's response is to that. How do you respond? And how much energy do you use in this response? Good. Releasing that last one. Thought number 4. My child is out there, and I will conceive. My child is out there somewhere, and I will conceive in some way. Again, just noticing your response. Beautiful. Releasing that thought. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. So you felt the magic then of these thoughts. And each of these thoughts we could find evidence for. The last one perhaps not. But each of those first 3 thoughts, we have lots of people who have told us similar things. We can find evidence on either side of those thoughts. So it's not that any of those thoughts have more validity than any others. The magic is in the association we make with that thought, how much energy we have. And in the article I give you a few ideas for how to unweave the tricky thoughts you have, if they're your own or those your family's given you or our culture, how to unweave those and rewrite those. What we know now, this is so exciting because science is now showing us what people have known in their hearts forever, I think. And certainly people have talked about for the last couple decades, and that is that words and thoughts have power. So I read a recent study that showed that words, the repetition of words and sounds, can change our very DNA. So the molecular structure of your being can be changed by the repetition of words. That's so exciting. We know this, of course. We know that if we tell a child again and again that that child is loved, that child becomes a different person than if we would have told him or her negative feedback all the time and never said I love you. We know that from experience, but now we know that actually that child's DNA is changed. So this is awesome. This is really important information because what it says is that you and I can change how we are physically. We can become different by repeating and listening to words over and over and over again. That shows the magic of words. So I want to start us right now with a little mantra. My invitation is, as you're working on uncovering those thoughts and really taking the magic juice out of some of the more negative ones, what I invite you to do is build the positive thoughts within you, the thoughts that are going to change your DNA in the way you want it to make you more receptive. So let's start with a little mantra right now. You repeat after me. I am open. I am receptive. I am ready to conceive. I am open. I am receptive. I am ready to conceive. I offer you many, many blessings as you unweave these thoughts, as you begin to become aware of the power and the magic that your thoughts have, and you start to use them in service to your conception, in service to your fertility of all kinds. It is my prayer that all beings know that they are open. May each of us experience our fertility in a multitude of ways. May all beings be free, and may all beings be at peace. Namaste.